with a brand new video this week, and this week I'm delighted to be joined with McCutcheon.
Corner for Crusaders. Towards the back post. Places up off the crossbar. McCutcheon.
You started off your football career at the Crown Boys Club. What was your memories from that time?
Hi Ryan, thanks very much for asking me to come along and answer some questions about my career. It's always nice to reminisce about the times gone past. First question about my memories from playing with Lacroix. Probably the best times of your life playing football. Things were slightly different for the likes of myself to what it is to use youngsters now. There used to only be a summer league in Stranraer that local teams from Stranraer and even Govan and Stewart played in. It was only under 13 and under 15 leagues. So I remember at 8-year-olds joining Lacroix Colts. Tom McBride asked me to go along. At that point you're playing against 13-year-olds who are 5 years older than you, so it was extremely difficult. And we used to take some hammerings, cricket scores at the time, but I always enjoyed it. Always relished the challenge of playing against boys that were older than me. And although you were getting a lot of beatings from time to time, it certainly stood you in good stead going forward. So lots of good memories. Probably the best memory I've got, to be honest, is not really football related. But we used to play at the West Fruch, and at that time I used to get picked up by Tommy McBride and taken out to the West Fruch in his old blue Escort. A few players in the years will probably remember that. But I always remember I used to sit in the back, and the Escort was so old that it used to have a hole in the footwell at the back, so as you were driving along towards the West Fruch you could actually see the road beneath you as you were going out. Crazy to think that's how you used to travel. You certainly wouldn't get away with it nowadays, but great memories.
You began your career at Kilmarnock and you spent 8 years there. What was your memories from that time?
Of my time playing for Kilmarnock, geez, there was so many, difficult to pinpoint, but I'll do my best. I was lucky enough when I was about 15, 16, I had a few options. I've been around Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, Dundee United, I've been doing it at Man United as well as Ipswich, you know, but I chose Kilmarnock, partly because it was closer to home and secondly because I felt it gave me a better chance to get to the first team than perhaps probably some of those bigger clubs did. So I had a 2-year YTS scheme with Kilmarnock, and then after the 2 years I signed a professional contract. Luckily enough that I managed to make the breakthrough from youth team to reserves to first team fairly quickly, between 17, 18, you know, and played with some great players and some good teams. At that stage, Rangers and Celtic were obviously, as they are now, the biggest clubs in the country, but at that point Kilmarnock were the third best team probably in the country. We were third most seasons in Europe, just about every season. You know, so we travelled to Portugal, Germany, Czechoslovakia, France to play with Kilmarnock in Cup Winners' Cup, UEFA Cup as it was then. You know, so they're great occasions, great memories. Standout games is probably Celtic in the League Cup at Hampden, playing in front of a full house. I think Lubo Moravchik scored the winning goal to beat us. That was a great occasion. I started that game, and you know, we were unfortunate. We did okay in the night, you know, and we're a wee bit more luck. We could have won the competition. Goals wise, I think I scored 2 goals against Aberdeen to win us the game back in '99. That was great for me, and something that I always remember. I think from my time there I played with some great players, Ali McCoy, Dean Durant, you know, and some great guys, not only great players but great guys in the dressing room, you know, also boys like Mark Roberts, Jim Laughlin, you know, the characters in the Kilmarnock dressing room were second to none. They were great times. And as a young lad coming through, I always remember you used to need to get changed at the longest side of the dressing room, so as you come in you had to walk past all the older professionals to get to your bit where you get changed to go to train in the morning. When as a young boy you used to come in, and you used to come in with your head down, you know, because if you had your head high and somebody clocked you and got eye contact with you, you knew you were getting pelters. You knew the guys would absolutely slaughter you for your hairstyle, what you were wearing, where you came from, just anything at all. you know, and it was something that you look back on with great memories. It's probably something that's without the game and doesn't really happen anymore. But for me, character building and just great times. What I would say is, just to finish, that although I had a great time at Kilmarnock and achieved a lot, probably look back with a bit of regret as well, that perhaps things came a little too easy for me. You know, I got to the first team when I was 17, 18, and perhaps I stopped. You know, I didn't work as hard when I got there to stay there and perhaps go on to the next level, which probably my ability should have dictated that I should have. You know, so that is one regret, that I probably didn't work hard enough once I got there. And it's something you look back on now and realise that you perhaps could have done more. But certainly, still great memories, and something I'll always, Kilmarnock's a place that I'll always have great memories of.
Bobby Williamson introduced substitutes Alan McCutcheon and Gary McCutcheon, and the 20-year-old scored his first goal for the club, courtesy of the 30-something. Young McCutcheon did well to squeeze this shot in at the post. But it wasn't over yet for Kelly or Gary McCutcheon. 2 minutes into stoppage time, a bizarre fourth goal as Don's goalie Derek Stilley goes for a walk in the Ayrshire countryside. Actually, Stilley was so far off his line it was questionable whether he was actually still in Ayrshire. But in fairness to McCutcheon, he read it well, and his finish was a delight. If anyone asks you what an open goal looks like, then just point them in this direction. The second Kilmarnock goal of McCutcheon's career, and it sure did make Bobby Williamson's day.
After you left Kilmarnock, you played with some other Scottish teams before making the move to Stair Park in 2004. Talk me through that.
In 2004, I signed for my hometown club, Stranraer. I'd previously been at Berwick the year before, which was the league which Stranraer had just been promoted to, and I'd scored 20 goals in that league. So Neil had sold me the club on being ambitious. You know, you spend a bit of money, so it seemed like an easy decision for me. Unfortunately for me, for about that moment I signed, that's when it all went downhill, and probably was the worst season in my football career. Things just didn't work out for me at Stranraer. Combination of things that I'm not going to get into in too much detail. Basically, Stranraer had a right tight group, you know, great dressing room, some great boys in there, you know, some decent players. You know, and they played a certain way which probably didn't suit the way I played, you know, and that's probably why it didn't work out, you know, and it's something that I look back on with all due respect, no good memories whatsoever from my time at Stranraer, apart from meeting some decent people. And to be fair, I liked Neil. Neil was a good guy, nice guy, but for whatever reason it just never happened. I actually tried to get out of Stair Park as quickly as I get in. I think after about a month I realised that it just wasn't happening, this wasn't the place for me, and I tried to get away. United did come in for me, were interested, but unfortunately at that point Stranraer decided that if they were going to let me go, they wanted a fee for me, so that scuppered any deal. Meant I sat there the whole season, you know, and I played various parts, you know, here and there, but it wasn't a very enjoyable experience for me, and something that I don't look back on with any great memories. Ultimately, from Neil Watt's point of view as a manager, Stranraer, it was a successful season for them. They won promotion, so he'll look back and say his decision was right, you know, that I didn't play as much as I would have liked. But personally, I truly believe that had I played more, I could have contributed a hell of a lot to that team and made it better, simple as that. But it wasn't a great time, but as I said, it happens, and as I said, I just moved on.
After leaving Stranraer, you went across the water to do what you do best, scoring goals. Why did you make the decision to move across the water?
It's the summer of 2005. I've just had that poor year at Stranraer. You know, became a great disillusion with life in Scottish football. You know, at that point I was fortunate enough to have a few offers from Northern Ireland. I'd previously been in Northern Ireland, but I ported down on loan for Kilmarnock a few years back and just really enjoyed it there. Playing some big games in front of some big crowds, and it's something that was always in the back of my mind that perhaps I would like to go back one day. This obviously gave me the perfect opportunity after having a poor season previously. So a few offers, all good offers, probably, but the one I chose was Larne, and there's no point in trying to sugarcoat it. The financial package that Larne offered me was incredible. You know, it really was. I was only required to go over a Saturday to play. I was not required to train with the club. I could train locally here just to keep my fitness up, and I only had to go over the boat on a Saturday. And basically, financially, it was too good to turn down. It was 3 times more money than I was on at Stranraer the previous year. So a bit of both financial gain, and I certainly needed a new challenge in a different country. And as it turned out, it was the right decision for me.
What was your memories from that time in Ireland?
Memories of playing in the Irish League. Well, I had 10 years playing over here, Ryan, so it's obviously, I really enjoyed my time and a really successful part of my career, and something I always look back on with great memories. My first year, as I've said, I was with Larne. They were managed by Kenny Shields, who went on to manage Kilmarnock, and I did great things with them. I think even at that point you could see Kenny was destined for good things. You know, he's probably the best manager I've played under. Even at that level, his attention to detail, his professionalism, and the manner of his coaching was outstanding, and I loved working with him. Kenny moved on to an Irish FA post, and that's when I decided I'd probably be better moving on as well. Just below Portadown had come in for me. Portadown out with probably Linfield and Glentoran's the biggest club in Northern Ireland, really well supported, always challenging for honours. I had 4 great years there. You know, won a league cup, was in Irish Cup finals, you know, played in the Setanta Cup, which is the All Ireland Cup, played in Europe, you know, so great times there. I scored over 100 goals for them. Played with some great players. Played with Kevin Pressman, the ex-England international goalkeeper. Boy Alan Smart, big Scottish striker, came over and played with me for a season. Enjoyed playing with him. But the other 3 seasons, the best player I played with over there would probably be Kevin Braniff. He was a striker, like myself, really good player, technically very good, but also an eye for goal. Me and him struck up a real good partnership, and we had 3 successful seasons there. After the 4th year, I decided I needed a new challenge, and I moved to Ballymena United. So again, it's another big club. Not overly successful throughout the years, but certainly a big club with a great stadium and a good fan base. So I went for a wee challenge to see if we could help them. And I had 2 great years there. I scored 50 goals in about 90 games, and just really enjoyed it. My good mate Alan Jenkins came over and joined me in my 2nd year. Managed to convince Alan to come over, and Alan stayed there for I think 6 seasons. So it was obviously a good move for him, and I know he's got nothing but high praise for Ballymena United. 2012, obviously I think I was 32 by this point, and I think I had 1 move in me, you know, and because of the success I'd had there, I had a lot of clubs interested in me. But I chose Crusaders, a team from North Belfast, who are a small club in terms of the rest of them, but had grown in the last few years to be quite successful, and were really looking to push on and challenge for league titles and cups, etc. So I joined them because I thought it was my last move, and it'd be a good move for me to perhaps win something before I finished up. So I spent 3 years, my final 3 years of my career at Crusaders. Enjoyed it immensely. Great club, really well looked after. Some great people, had some great friendships there, and played with some great players. You know, we probably weren't as successful as we should have been, because the talent in my squad, we should have been challenging. We should have probably won the league more than we did. We did manage to win the league my final season there, which obviously I got a medal for, which is a nice memory to have. And I look, all in all, looking back in my career in Northern Ireland, with nothing but fond memories. Had a great time. Probably out with the football, the best thing about Northern Ireland is, and I'm sure Alan would agree with me, is the way you're looked after. You know, I've obviously played in Scotland for a while, but the way you're looked after in Northern Ireland is night and day compared to Scotland. They do everything they can to make sure that you're going to bring your best in the football part on a Saturday. And great people, and as I said, they just looked after me and my family so well when we were over there, and I loved every minute of it.
You scored an incredible 277 goals out of 453 games. Wow. Is there any goal that stands out?
I just informed me, Ryan, that I've scored 277 goals in about 450 games, which is kind of take me by surprise a bit. I wasn't actually aware of that. You know, I suppose I've always scored goals, even for the weirdest day of me, till I finished, you know. But I generally wouldn't class myself as a natural goal scorer. You know, I believe I'm a good finisher and always have been, but I believe I do as much work outside the box as I did in it. And perhaps if I'd spent more time in the box than out of it, I might have scored even more than that. But certainly a good total and one I'm proud of. Certainly memorable goals from it. There's a few early ones. I remember when I was on loan at Stair Park. My first game, ironically, was against Stranraer, and that was the season Stranraer went up, I think 97, 98. I mean, I was only 17 at the time. I scored 2 goals against Keith Knox and Carmel Money in that side, you know, that eventually went up. You know, so that was satisfying for a young kid playing his first senior game at that time. You know, it was a great memory. From there on, I've scored 2 goals, as I said previously, for Kilmarnock to win a game against Aberdeen, which is a great memory. You know, one was a close range finish, and the second one was a long range one off around the keeper and scored for about 30 yards in an empty net. But satisfying and great memory to look back on. A couple of goals in Ireland I always remember. I scored for the halfway line against Glentoran for Crusaders. The keeper's it's been a short back pass to the keeper that's ended up back at me, and that around about the halfway line I've managed to get enough power and accuracy in to dink it over the keeper from the halfway line, which is a good moment. Probably my best memory from Ireland in terms of goals wise was scoring the winner in the League Cup final for Portadown, you know, which is a nice finish. It was live in BBC Northern Ireland, and we've beaten Newry City 1-0, and I've managed to score the only goal. It's a nice turn on my left foot and finish, so extremely satisfying. But lots of goals. As I said, there's no such thing as a bad goal in my opinion. You know, a tap in from 1 yard or a volley from 25 yards, they all count as the same thing. So any goal's a good goal. As I said, being honest, I can always remember most goals in my career. There's no many that I can't remember, and I cherish every one of them. Great memories.
All-Star Football Player of the Year in 2011 to 12. How did it feel?
Named All-Star Football of the Year, as you say, in 2011-12 season. It's a great achievement for myself. It was my final year at Ballymena. I'd scored 34 goals and 46 games for them that year. It was unheard at that time. I think I'm the only second player in Ballymena's history to actually win that award. So it was quite satisfying for an average team that I played in to win that award against some of the players that played for Linfield and Glentoran and the likes. It was extremely satisfying and a great achievement. Followed that was like the Ulster sports writers dinners that you attended, and I was in the team of the season. Got to pick that award up, also pick up the top goal scorer award, and I think Jimmy Nicholl presented the trophies that night. So that was extremely satisfying and something that a great memory to look back on. Also at the end of that year, there was a Harry Gregg's testimonial. Was that year, which an Irish League select was playing against Manchester United at Windsor Park. I was fortunate enough to get picked for the Irish League select to play against Manchester United, which was wonderful for myself, being a Manchester United fan. And when we played that night, I played wide left, and when I seen the team that they brought out, you know, it was great. Wayne Rooney was there, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Michael Owen, Berbatov, Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra, the list goes on. You know, they were full strength. You know, and to go up against them was great for myself, being a Manchester United fan, and just was a fitting end to the season for me, and something that I look back on me a great fondness. It's probably the best season of my career.
Okay folks, the Harry Gregg testimonial, Irish Premier Select versus Manchester United. The starting lineup for the Irish Premier side: Alan Blaney, by Johnson. The subs.
Who's best player you've played against and why?
Really difficult. Played against some outstanding footballers. As previously just said, the Manchester United testimonial game. You know, to play against idols of mine like Paul Scholes, who I regard as my favourite player of all time. Wayne Rooney, Ryan Giggs, and the likes. You know, it's really difficult to not put them in that ilk. But because it was a friendly, I don't feel it's quite the same as playing against somebody in a competitive game. Also, competitively playing against Henrik Larsson, Paolo Di Canio, two outstanding footballers and people you just couldn't help but admire. But the one I've chosen is Paul Gascoigne, probably the best player I've ever played against. When I played against him, he was obviously at Rangers at the time, and he was just outstanding. Physically, didn't look much, you know, looked out of shape, but his ability and his ability to glide past players and to see things and just make things happen on the pitch, you know, you just couldn't help but admire him, you know, and you were somewhat in awe of him playing against him. But he's just an outstanding player and somebody who I look back on and just grateful for sharing the pitch with at some point.
What's the best 1 to 11 players you've played with?
1 to 11 of players that I played with, Ryan, again, really difficult. You know, took a bit of thought this one. Obviously I played a part of my career full time and another part time, so it's hard to kind of class the two. I played with a lot of boys, part-time players who were outstanding footballers, but I've based my team mostly on full-time players. I feel it's just a slightly better level for all these reasons. Went 4-3-3. Goalkeeper is, as I previously said, Kevin Pressman, ex-England international. I played with Portadown for a season. Outstanding, you know, just unbelievable goalkeeper. Great presence, great shot stopper, and generally nice person as well. You know, really helpful to the other persons. So even the level he played at didn't speak down to people. You know, was very down to earth person, just a lovely person to play with. Back four at right back, I went for Gus McPherson, who I played with at Kilmarnock. Gus was an older head when I first went there, but really great professional. Played so many games for Kilmarnock. You know, and what I liked about Gus was, not only was he great defensively, but as a striker, he was what I call a dying art. He was great at picking out a striker with a ball. You know, most fullbacks nowadays, they look to get it and they're bombing forward and they look to play it to a wide man straight away. Gus was great at getting it and knocking it into a striker, which was obviously myself back in the day, and just a great all-round player and very reliable. On the other side at left back, I went for Gary Hay, again another Kilmarnock legend. He played about 600 games for Kilmarnock, one club for the whole of his career. Well, I played with Gary, me and him signed the same day for Kilmarnock, so I come right through, and again a great player. Didn't have great pace, but read the game really well, and again was another player that you could pick out a pass, you know, could pick out strikers with balls. I think it's something that's probably lost from the game a wee bit now. Centre backs was difficult because I played with a lot, but I pumped for Michael Smith, who is now at Hearts. Michael, I played with him at Ballymena for a season, and you could see then that Michael was going to play at that higher level because he had composure, he read the game very well, good physical attributes in terms of pace and his stamina and stuff. So he's went on and he's doing really well at Hearts, and certainly a cracking player. Beside him, I went for Kevin McGowan. Again, played with Kevin at Kilmarnock. He was a stalwart under that successful time for 3 or 4 seasons. Again, just very reliable. Back then, playing out for the back wasn't really the norm, but Kevin was the first sort of defender I played with that was very comfortable in the ball, took it off goalkeepers, took it off fullbacks, very comfortable at playing it out, and as I say, was a very good defender as well. I went for a midfield 3, and first person on there had to be Ian Durrant, who again I played with for a few seasons at Kilmarnock. Again, probably one of the best players I've played with. Unbelievable passing range, you know, for a striker. You know, if you made movement, you just knew Durrant would be able to find you. Such quality, and plus he was such a great guy. You know, really good for youngsters, passing stuff on. Knew when to come down on people, but also knew when to put an arm around you and have a crack with you. You know, just a generally top player and somebody I'm privileged to play with. Also in that 3, I went for a player, Robert Pritz, who I played with again at Kilmarnock. I think it was only about a season. Pritzy kind of came, he was near the end of his career. I think he's got like 60 caps for Sweden, who previously played for Rangers. And probably at Kilmarnock we didn't see the best of him, but thinking more in terms of training and stuff, just a joy to play with. His vision, his touch, what he saw, the way he played the game was just outstanding. Well, even on a January winter's day when playing in mud, Pritzy always wore mouldies, and yet he could still, he had the balance to be able to stand up, and the rest of us were slipping all around the place. Just a quality player. Beside them two, I went for, again, it's not an old mate thing, but I went for my mate Alan Jenkins. Again, played with Alan obviously at Stranraer, which I didn't play with him that much, but I played with him at Ballymena. Okay, and Alan's just one of those players that everybody likes. Not till you play with him, you realise what he gives you. You know, box to box, great energy, great physical attributes, can also get in the end of things. Just somebody that everybody likes to have on their team. So he would, let's say, I enjoyed playing with Alan that season. It's just a shame we never got to play a bit more. Front three was the hardest. I played with a lot of good strikers, and I've left a lot of good strikers out. McCoy's not there. Paul Wright, again, another Kilmarnock legend. Mark Roberts, fantastic footballer. Tommy Johnson, England international. Pat Nevin, Scotland international. All great players, but so you can only pick three, as I said. So I picked Andy McClarn on one side of the three. Okay, Andy, great ability. You know, could go past people, whip crosses in, was a goal threat. You know, and good vision, and just a quality player and somebody I enjoyed playing with. The other side I went for Alex Burke, who again played for Kilmarnock, won the Scottish Cup with Kilmarnock in '97, burst onto the scene as an 18-year-old. Burke was a year older than me, but came up through the youth teams with him and that, and he was a quality winger, just went past people for fun. You know, and when he burst onto the scene, you really thought he was going to be a superstar. Certain circumstances meant he didn't quite hit the heights, but he was still, at that time, was an unbelievable player. And through the middle, I went for Chris Boyd. Boyd, a couple of years younger than me, but come up through the ranks, and me and him became good friends, and are still good friends to this day. Still keep in contact. But just a natural goal scorer, just a great goal scorer. Put anywhere in the box, Boyd would be on the end of it and finish it. You know, didn't do a hell of a lot outside there, but who cares when you've got the ability to put the ball in the back of the net like Boydie. You know, just a pleasure for the likes of myself who like to play off a target man. He was ideal to play with, and as I said, just a quality team. So that's my side.
Now you're the player manager of South of Scotland Stranraer team. Did you always want to get into coaching?
I obviously a coach. I'm now the manager of the Stranraer South of Scotland team. Have been now for 3 seasons. Been successful. Previously, I managed to, being honest, was into coaching before that. Probably in the early days, not at all. I think when you're a player, you know, you're just so focused on being a player that coaching's the last thing in your mind. It wasn't until I was coming up to about 30, I was asked to come in to help with Stranraer Youths by Frank Coulson and Jim McLeod. So I came in and helped them for a few years, and I loved it. You know, I think I worked with under 14 and just loved coming in, working with the youngsters, trying to improve them as players and passing on stuff that I'd been learnt. You know, so that was great. Worked with them for a few years. In 2017, I think it was Stevie Farrell, the first team manager, asked me to take the South of Scotland team, which he would like to put a team in. You know, which I was glad. I felt his time was right for me to move on to coach men. You know, so we've been in there. First season was a learning curve for everybody, for the players coming out of the youth setup, for myself being first time in charge of a men's proper team. You know, we managed to be successful in terms of winning a cup by the end of the season, which was great. Okay, the momentum took on through there, and we managed to go through obviously the next season, as everybody knows, without losing a league game, which is unprecedented. I don't think ever been done before. So that was great. We moved on again last season there, the one that's just finished. We've been stopped short because of the coronavirus. We're looking good. We'd already won a cup, which I was fortunate enough to play in, and managed to score the winner with a nice free kick near the end to beat 3-3-2. And we were looking good in the league. In my opinion, I think we would have won and won the league. We were really hitting form at that time, so it was a shame. But the right decision's been made. The season's been null and void. As I say, we certainly didn't want to win it by points per game ratio or anything like that. You win a league by playing the full 30 games, and that's the way it should have been. So we move on again. Plans afoot. Obviously a wee bit in array at the moment due to the kind of restrictions, but hopefully they'll be lifted sooner rather than later, and we can get the boys back out training, get a squad together and go again. One thing about me is that any player that comes into me, and I say me, I'm obviously Sanny Sutherland's been helping me out for the last 3 seasons as my assistant, which is a great help to me. Sanny's a wonderful person for anybody who knows him. wonderful Sunraw man, really passionate, and the boys all love him, absolutely love him to bits. So he's been a great help. Obviously Alan Jenkins is there in the background as well. Alan's the head of youth. So he helped out from time to time. I also played with us a bit there last season. So I've got help, which you need to. But first and foremost, I think you've got to have the right players, you know, and I certainly had the right players at Sunraw for the last couple of seasons. You know, great bunch of boys, great squad, you know, and what we try to do is make it as professional as any club I've been at, and that's the way I like to do it. Training, set up for games and stuff, it's as professional as we can make it, and I think we're seeing the fruits of that on a Saturday on the pitch. You know, the professionalism and the quality that the team have managed to put on the park's bringing. I think a few people look, and obviously I've played a few games and Alan's played a few games and wondered why we're playing. Well, the reason me and him's playing is not, well, because obviously we still enjoy playing and still want to do it, but we play because sometimes myself and Alan being on the park can help others that you maybe can't do on the sideline just by watching you and talking you boys through games and just seeing how somebody's played at that wee bit higher levels. So that's why we play. So it's not in my mind to play much longer if I can, okay, but I'll certainly play if I feel I can do myself justice and my boys can learn off me by watching me on the pitch.
Right, keep going! Keep going! Yes, Kochi! Yes, Kochi! Well played!
What's your footballing ambition?
It's a difficult one. I'm going to lie and say I'm not ambitious. I'm not going to say I don't fancy perhaps being in charge of a senior club one day. It's just absolutely what I do, what I would like to do. I've got my B licence already. Next stage would be my A licence, which is a big commitment, but certainly one I think is perfectly achievable for myself. At the moment, as I said, it's another year with South West Scotland team at the moment, which I'm really happy to be in charge of. I'm just hoping to have another successful season, even more successful than we've been before. Perhaps get another few youngsters into the kind of first team picture and just take it from there. As I said, I am ambitious, and as I said, I do harbour hopes of perhaps being in charge of a senior club in the near future.
Do you have any funny football stories?
Funny stories? Oh, Ryan, when you hit your career as long as I have, you lots of funny stories and on a daily basis, but probably one of them that sticks out for me is I remember back, I think it was the start of the 99-2000 season. I was still at Kilmarnock at the time, and we were away to Rangers, obviously playing at Ibrox. It was a lovely sunny day, so it was shorts and t-shirts weather. I was on the bench that day for Kilmarnock, and I always remember we were sitting on the bench, and Bobby Williamson was the manager then. And at that time, it was shorts and t-shirts weather. Bobby had the white shorts, that's normal Kilmarnock had, and just an ordinary t-shirt. And obviously, before the game, Bobby had been feeling a bit of nerves because he disappeared to the toilet just on kick-off. And when he came out, let's just say there was several brown marks noticeable down the back of his shorts. Of course, the dugout hysterics laughing their head off at this, but Bobby was. He was a coach. He liked to stand outside and coach for the touchline. So nobody told him. To this day, I don't even know if he'll know it himself. Nobody told him. Bobby stood out in front of Ibrox, with all the TV cameras there and all the big main stand looking on at him, with these brown marks down the back of his bottom on his white shorts for all to see. It didn't leave much to the imagination. It's a silly story that we all find really funny, and I say nobody ever told Bobby because I'm not sure he would have found it funny, but it still makes me laugh to this day. Cheers, Ryan.
Thanks, Cutchy, for this week's interview. I'll see you at Loch Ryan training soon, and I want you to put my cousin Harry through some pace training. And everybody, just remember to like, subscribe and share, and hit the bell sign so you never miss a brand new video. Peace, see you next one, goodbye.